Hey, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy. In today's video, we're going to be going over a full pre-trip inspection on a CDL Class C vehicle, as you see behind me, which is technically one of those short school buses itself. Now, what makes this a CDL Class C? Thing number one is the whole vehicle itself weighs less than 26,000 pounds, which means you are not required to get a Class B or a Class A. The other thing that requires to get a Class C for this vehicle is you're going to be transporting people, and on top of that you're going to be transporting school children around, right? So in this case, what you would need to get this kind of license to drive a vehicle like this, you need to get your CDL permit, pass 3 different tests. General knowledge, you're going to also have to pass passenger endorsement and school bus endorsement, and then that gives you access to take a vehicle like this to go for the actual road test at DMV to get your actual certification itself. So we're going to be going over today, like I said, a full pre-trip inspection of the outside of this vehicle. And here at Driving Academy, we help people just like you every day learn how to get a Class A license, Class B, or Class C. We're currently located in Linden, New Jersey. And if you definitely want some more information, go visit our website at cdldrivingacademy.com. Again, that's cdldrivingacademy.com. So let's get right into it. So like I said, we're about to inspect this CDL Class C vehicle. The one thing you have to understand is that there is no specific order that you must go in, right? We're going to be starting from the front and working our way around the entire vehicle, but when you actually go for the test itself, the examiner will tell you where they want you to start, where they want you to end. We have no idea what they're going to say, so you have to be prepared for the whole thing, so that means you can knock this test out of the park. So as we're going through the front of this vehicle, we're going to start from the top down. So those 3 lights in the center there, those are called clearance lights. We're going to have to say my clearance lights are clean and functional and amber in color. On the outside lights, we're going to have those red and yellow lights. Those are specifically lights for school bus. So alternating school bus lights are red and yellow lights. Those are proper color and they are clean and functional. As we come down the bus itself, we're then going to talk about our windshield wipers. Our windshield wipers, arms and blades are secure and operating smoothly. Okay, as we come down the front here, we're going to have our mirrors. On this mirror itself, has a cool little hat on there. Again, Driving Academy, we're located in New Jersey. If you want some more information about our program or training, I want you to visit cdldrivingacademy.com, and we're definitely going to be here to help you out. But that being said, these front mirrors, these are called school bus mirrors or student mirrors, and these have to be properly clean. They also have to make sure that they're adjusted correctly so you can see, and the mirror brackets also have to be secure with no loose fittings. Alright, as we're going forward and we keep coming down the vehicle itself, we're going to have this yellow bar right here, which is called a stop arm. Your stop arm has to be secure. It cannot have any loose fittings, and it is securely mounted to the vehicle frame and securely mounted to the vehicle itself, right? So that's your stop arm. And then the last thing that we would check underneath here would be that make sure that there is no puddles on the ground, there is no dripping fluid on the underside of the engine or transmission. And then as you're looking at this vehicle from the front, you're going to want to make sure that the vehicle is sitting level. So all that covers everything on the front part of the vehicle itself. And next we're going to be going right into the hood to tell you what's underneath this hood right here. So I got to put my hat in the mechanic stance because we're about to open up the hood. So, in order to open up the hood, there is a little latch underneath here. As long as you unlocked it from the inside, of course. You're going to lift up on the latch. You're going to lift this hood up. And then you're going to look for this stand right over here to make sure that the hood stays up. Especially on a vehicle just like this, you definitely do not want to be checking something and have your hand go there. And then you're going to wind up with an injury like this, or maybe even worse. Alright, so that again said, there's a few things inside the hood that we are going to have to talk about. Now again, this does not have to be done in any particular order itself, but it's very important that you do talk about all the items that I am going to be showing you. Alright, so we'll start off on this side of the engine. Over here, this is going to be our power steering fluid. So our power steering fluid, you're going to have to indicate your dipstick. So this is my dipstick. It is an adequate level, and the power steering fluid is above the refill mark. Alright. So that's what you're going to have to say about your power steering fluid. As we're moving across here, back behind the engine, what you're going to see is an alternator. Your alternator, you're going to have to say my alternator is belt driven, it is operating properly, not damaged or leaking, and mounted securely. My alternator belt has no more than 3/4 inch of play, no cracks or frays. You must say all of that in order to get full credit for the alternator. This yellow thing right here, this is your oil dipstick. So you're going to have to talk about your oil dipstick right here. You're going to say, I'm going to check my oil level. This is my dipstick. It is in safe operating range and it is above the refill mark itself, right? Underneath here, we cannot even see it, so there's no point of zooming in the camera. You're going to have two items. The two items that we're going to have is going to be your water pump, and it's also going to be your power steering pump. Now in this vehicle itself, the water pump and the power steering pump are both gear driven. So what you're going to have to say for the test is, my water pump is gear driven, it is operating properly, it's not damaged or leaking, and it is mounted securely. My power steering pump is also gear driven, it is operating properly, not damaged or leaking, and mounted securely. So between those two items and the alternator, those are the main components you have to talk about inside, underneath your hood itself, right? Now over here, as we keep moving across, this is going to be your coolant level. So your actual antifreeze is going to get put into here. So what you're going to say is, I'm going to check my coolant level by inspecting my reservoir sight glass. Now because this is clear plastic, I'm going to be checking just through the plastic itself. Going to make sure that it is visible. And then you're also going to say, if the engine was not hot, I would remove the radiator cap and then check for visible coolant level. You definitely do not want to touch the radiator cap if the engine is hot, because something like this can happen again. This is just a warning sign for everybody, alright? And then the last thing that we're going to be talking about inside, or underneath the hood I should say, is going to be your battery right over here. So because your battery for a Class C vehicle is underneath the hood, we have to talk about it here. You're going to say my battery is secure, my cell caps are present, my connections are tight, and there is no signs of excessive corrosion on any of my battery itself, right? So that's going to cover everything from underneath this hood itself. Alright, so one thing that I did forget about inspecting the front of the vehicle are going to be these headlights and turn signals here. So again, with these lights, you're going to have to say, in all lights, they are clean and functional. Now as you follow me along towards the driver's side of the vehicle, there are two more things that are considered underneath the hood, but not part of the engine, but they're going to be on the driver's side of the steering tire. You can't really see them, but they're going to be your steering box and your steering linkage. You're going to say that my steering box is mounted securely, there is no leaks, and there's no missing nuts, bolts, or cotter keys, and all my steering box hoses are in good condition and not leaking. Now you're also going to have what they call a steering linkage underneath here as well, and for your steering linkage, you're going to have to say that my arm link and rod are not worn or cracked, my joints and sockets are not worn or loose, and there's no missing nuts, bolts, or cotter keys. Right, so that pretty much covers everything there, which means now we can talk about this tire suspension and its brakes. So, as we come down over here, one thing that you have to understand is a Class C most of the time does not have air brakes, which means we do not have to talk about the same kind of things as a Class B with air brakes or a Class A with air brakes, but we do have to talk about the suspension itself. So in the front here, it's very hard to see, but what you're going to have under your suspension is you're going to have coil springs. You're going to have to say that my coil springs, which is just a very big spring, kind of looks like a big slinky spring, is not cracked or distorted. Alright? From there, you're going to have to talk about your mounts. You're going to have one type of mount in the front, which is called your bushings. You're going to have to say that your bushings are not missing and they are not damaged. Alright? Bushings are the ones that secure the different mounts to your vehicle itself. And you're also going to say that all my mounts are secured to the vehicle frame and axle. So that covers the suspension portion of the front tire. Now, when it comes to the brakes, you only have to talk about two things. One, you're going to say my brake hoses, lines, and couplings are not cracked, worn, or leaking. And then you're going to be talking about your brake lining, which is going to be underneath here. You're going to say my brake lining is not worn dangerously thin. That's everything that we have to know about behind this tire. Now, you do not have to stick your head underneath here. You just have to point and you have to talk about what you are saying, right? So everything that we talked about is behind the tire itself. Now, when we're talking about the tire, we're going to start off with the tread. Your tread depth cannot be any less than 4/32 of an inch on the front tires. Your tread has to be evenly worn and no cuts or damage to the tread or to the sidewall, okay? As we come down to the rim, your rim has to be secure, it has to be free from damage and free from any kind of welds. This centerpiece right here, this is going to be your hub seal. Your hub seal also has to be secure, not leaking, and filled to adequate fluid level, right? These nuts over here, these are called our lug nuts. So all of our lug nuts have to be present. They have to show no signs of looseness, such as rust trails or shiny treads. So rust trails means that water got behind them, and trails of rust would be coming down the side of the rim, and that would indicate that they would be loose. right? And then over here you're going to have your valve stem and cap. Your valve stem and cap have to be secure and has to be free from leaking. And now when we talk about the valve stem and cap, we're also going to have to check the tire pressure with the tire gauge. And in this tire itself, it should be about 80 psi. And that covers everything that you have to talk about when it comes to the tires, the suspension, and the brakes on your front tire itself. So if you like what we've been talking about so far and you have some more questions, whether it's a Class C, whether it's a Class A or a Class B pre-trip inspection, definitely want to give our office a call, 908-525-3609, or go to our website at cdldrivingacademy.com, and we'll definitely be able to help you out. Our staff members are standing by as we speak. But as we continue throughout this pre-trip inspection training, you're going to have right over here is going to be your mirror. So over here, we're going to have to make sure that our mirrors are clean, properly adjusted, and their mirror brackets are secure with no loose fittings. That means it's nice and secure. We're going to move to our door. Our door opens and closes properly from the outside. We're also going to have to talk about our seal. Our seal is intact and our hinges are secure. So the hinges for the actual door itself. Okay. From there, we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to talk about our stop sign. Our stop sign is secure. It's operating properly. It's secure to the vehicle. My stop sign lights are clean and they are functional. All right. We're going to have our clearance light. Anytime you see any kind of clearance light, the same two words I want you to make sure you know: clean and functional. From there, we're going to talk about our fuel tank. This is our fuel tank cap right over here. I'm going to say that my fuel tank is secure. The cap is on tight, and there is no leak from the tanks or lines, and we make sure that there is no leaks on the floor itself. Now underneath this vehicle itself, we cannot see with the camera, we're going to have three different items. You're going to have your frame. So your frame members, cross members, box and floor have to be secure, free of holes, cracks, or any damage. All right. You're also going to have your drive shaft underneath there, which is a very round, thick metal piece that turns the whole vehicle to make sure it's moving. And with that, the drive shaft cannot be bent, cracked, or damaged, and the couplings have to be free from foreign objects. And the last thing we have underneath there, which we can also see from the back, is going to be your exhaust system. So your exhaust system cannot be leaking, cannot show any signs of leaks such as carbon, soot, or rust. It has to be connected tightly and mounted securely. All right. So as we're moving forward, any kind of reflector that you see on your vehicle itself, you're going to have to be talking about that it is clean and functional. And that brings us to this back tire right over here. So let's talk about the back tire. Just like the front tire, there's three main parts of the tires that we have to talk about: the suspension, the brakes, and then the tire itself. So on this in particular model here, we're going to have different types of suspension than we have up front. Back here, we're going to have what we call leaf springs, which is these metal pieces right over here. My leaf springs cannot be missing, shifted, cracked, or broken. On the front and on the back of the leaf springs, you're going to have special mounts. Those mounts are called spring hangers because the spring is actually hanging on them. With the spring hangers, they cannot be cracked or broken. In the center of the leaf spring, we're going to have a U-bolt. The U-bolt is going to be a bolt that looks just like a U. It's securing the leaf spring to the axle itself. So my U-bolts cannot be broken, loose, or missing. Right? And then we're also going to have a shock absorber in the back that we cannot see. So my shock absorber cannot be leaking and it has to be mounted securely. And then we also have bushings spread out throughout the different mount itself. So my bushings have to be not missing and not broken. And then we're going to have to say that all my suspension mounts are securely mounted to the vehicle frame and or axle. So that covers everything on the suspension for back on this axle here, which is going to be the same thing for the other side. All right. Now when it comes to the brakes, it's going to be the same brakes that we talked about from the front. You're going to have your brake hoses, lines, and couplings. Cannot be cracked, worn, or leaking. And then you're going to have your brake lining. You're going to talk about your brake lining cannot be worn dangerously thin. If your vehicle does have drum brakes, then you're going to have to talk about the drum brake. This vehicle does not, right? From there, we're going to be talking about the tires. So our tire tread depth in the back tires cannot be any less than 2/32 of an inch. The tread has to be evenly worn, and there cannot be any cuts or damage to the tread or to the sidewall. We're then going to move to the rims. The rims have to be securely mounted with no damage. Has to be free from any kind of welding repair. Back here, we're going to call this our axle seal. So our axle seal has to be secure, free from any kind of leaks, and it has to be filled to adequate level. And over here, these black things again, these are your lug nuts. Your lug nuts also have to be present. They all have to be tight, and they cannot show any signs of looseness such as rust trails or shiny treads. As we come along here, we're going to have our valve cap and stem that cannot be leaking, cannot be missing, cannot be damaged. And then we would check the tire pressure on these back tires as well with the tire gauge. And this also has to be 80 psi on this individual tire itself, right? So for the test, you definitely want to use the tire pressure gauge and check it yourself. As we come along here, we're gonna be coming down, and right here over here, you're gonna have your red reflector. So it's very important that you talk about this, which means it's clean and functional. All right, now we're almost done. We're getting close to the end. We're towards the back of the vehicle itself. So if you follow me from the top down, you're going to have the same kind of clearance lights up top. So your clearance lights up top are those 3 center red lights, and those are going to be, you're going to say my clearance lights are red. They are clean and functional. And now they're red because we're now in the rear, right? You're going to have your school bus lights, which is your red and yellow alternating lights. Those are proper color and they are clean and functional. You're going to have this clearance light right over here. It is red and it is clean and functional, right? You're going to be coming down. All of your reflective tape is clean and functional. We're going to finish up with the lights. So your school bus lights, again, alternating school bus lights and turn signal and brake lights are clean and functional. Your reverse lights and tail lights are clean and functional. Your reflectors are red, clean and functional. And our bus is sitting level from the back of the vehicle itself. Now over here we are going to have to talk about the door. So the same thing we said about that front door. The door opens and closes smoothly from the outside. The hinges are secure and the whole seal is intact. And like I said from before, right down over here on this corner, we are going to have the end of our muffler system. So this is our exhaust system, which means you could talk about it back here, or you could talk about it from the middle like we talked about here. Alright, so like I said, that is the back of the vehicle itself. Now we're going to go around the passenger side of the vehicle, and we're just going to mention things that are not on the driver's side itself. And there's really only one thing that is different. So if you look down this side here, the only difference you're going to see, it does have a different door. So over here is your passenger door. So what you're going to have to say about this door is make sure that it is unlocked from the inside for the test. We're going to make sure that the door opens and closes smoothly from the outside. Your hinges are secure and your seals are intact. Now because this door does have steps, you are going to have to talk about your steps. So your steps have to be solid, clear of objects, and securely mounted with nothing loose or anything like that on the steps itself, right? So that's pretty much the entire pre-trip inspection for this Class C vehicle. So if you are looking to get Class C training, Class B training, CDL Class A training, and you want some more information about this, and you want to know how we can actually guarantee that we get your license, you're definitely going to want to click on our website, which is cdldrivingacademy.com, or you can just give us a call, 908-525-3609. We have team members here who are here to help you out, right? So anything that we can help you out with, we're here to help you. Here at Driving Academy, we have a mission of helping 1 million people get on the road to freedom. So I want to help you, that's right, I want to help you get on your road to freedom. What's more free than getting a CDL license, driving where you want to go, and making more money while you're doing it? Have a great day, and I hope you enjoy this vehicle.